drops on the floor alongside my speed. My knees are drenching in the blood I spill just to get here. When I look around me, everything I had went up in flames, my lonely way. When I look around me, everything I had went up in flames, my lonely way. I never pray to God anymore. I'd rather no one hurt me. Redemption, I have waited for you to come and drown all my sin. My knees are drenching in the blood I spill just to get here. When I look around me, everything I had went up in flames. Everything I had went up in flames, my lonely way. I don't wanna fight anymore. Just turn around and leave me. The tear in my eye drops on the floor alongside my speed. My knees are drenching in the blood I spill just to get here. When I look around me, everything I had went up in flames, my lonely way. I never pray to God anymore. I'd rather no one hurt me. Redemption, I have waited for you to come and drown all my sins. My knees are drenched in the blood I spilled just to get in. When I look around me, everything I had went up in flames. Everything I had went up in flames. My lonely way. I don't wanna fight anymore. Just turn around and leave me. The tear in my eye drops on the floor alongside my speed. My knees are drenched in the blood I spilled just to get in. When I look around me, everything I had went up in flames. My lonely way. When I look around me, everything I had went up in flames. My lonely way. I never pray to God anymore. I'd rather no one hurt me. Redemption, I have waited for you to come and drown all my sins. My knees are drenched in the blood I spilled just to get in. When I look around me, everything I had went up
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going live for Suzuka round 8 of the GT3 season here for Raceface. I think it's season 4 here in the GT3 category. So plenty of rounds have taken place and plenty of seasons under our belts. And this time around out at Suzuka in a early morning session for qualifying. A big shout out to our stream and to our viewers. Hope you guys are having a wonderful evening so far. If you need us to adjust any volumes while I'm here, just give me a shout. We've had a little change up with a couple of things, so if I'm a little bit louder, I need to be turned down, or the cars need to be louder, just give me a shout. Let me know what you guys need to have. That's what we're here to do, keep you guys entertained. And for the next 20 minutes, we've got a qualifying shootout for our Pro Split grid. I'm looking very much forward to this race. Last night got a little teaser of the mixed multi-class endurance, or mini endurance series. GT4s and GT3s, majority GT3s on the circuit. So, you know, having a lot of GT3s here, not sad at all. As it looks like Arno Vasaki up at the front of the order. He's going to be the driver that hopefully goes and sets our first time on the board. And currently, we managed to get into the session early enough that we can catch them on their outlaps, as opposed to Vasaki looking a bit squiggly coming out of Spoon there. Cold tires, definitely at play, trying to put some warmth into them with a little weave. The exhaust pipes definitely up to temperature. You can see them glowing, most certainly gloriously down the back stretch. Some sparks will get kicked up in the darkness. It's one of the reasons I like the darker sessions for ACC. And out through the final chicane. Arno Vasaki, let's go on board, take a ride around with the Retro Esports Rainbow number 94. Down at the start, finish straight. He goes to start off his lap over the timing line. And this will be the beginning of his first timed lap. Into the first corner, looking for the inside apex, carrying as much speed as you can. Double apex through, and then extending and getting as quickly as you can onto that gas before throwing it into the start of the snake, or the S's, whichever you fancy the name for this part of the track. Definitely a little bit more technical. You can see some of the camber on the road as well. Kind of just got to balance the car. It's a very technical part. Not much overtaking gets done there. Out through Dunlop, big sweeping left-hander, then sets you up for the vicious Degners. Degner 1, a little bit of inner curb, takes him outer curb, and Degner 2, inside curb under the flyover bridge, which of course is the back stretch. Make your way into the hairpin, onto the anchors, try and get the car turned around, dial down on the traction control so you can get the drive out of the corner, and make your way out through 200R and on your way out to Spoon. This is all flat out through here. You're just trying to minimize the amount of tire scrub that you get. And onto the brakes once again. Look for the inside apex. Carry the speed and the line out wide. And then get yourself back onto the accelerator for the exit of Spoon and the back stretch. This is then the setup for 130R. Start to the right side of the back stretch and then just chuck the car into it. There we go. Vasaki wrestles it. Uses some of the runoff on the right side. Onto the brakes under the Yokohama flyover through the chicane. Bentley can use some of the curbs there. See the bright flashing Ferris wheel in the back. Oh, Vasaki out the final curb. Doesn't let me talk about the flashing Ferris wheel, but does manage to wrestle it back around. What does he set here? Across the timing line with a tow 1.941. Immediately will be topped out by Jason Absmeyer from White Rabbit Gaming in his 720S. And it will then be Jaden Gambin from the Back Ribbon Simulations EKZ Phoenix team. And number 302. Plenty of custom liveries. You'll see them here. We do offer them. So if you got a custom livery that you want to show off, this stream is the place to do it. Let's see what's going on in the chat as well. We got Kyle Petzer here. He joined me for some commentary last night. Shout out to him in the chat. Carl de Guta. I might butcher some surnames here as well. calling and saying it's been a good season. Pierre Grindeling, of course, is here. He's been here supporting from the very start of the season. Good to have you here as well. And, you know, to you guys that are here, let us know who you are looking to support. Harry Spears, of course, from Fordzilla. He's making a debut appearance here. And not the first Fordzilla driver, of course, normally Darren King. He joined us for a couple of races. I think he's committed to a lot of racing, really, across the board. But his team here as well, Harry Spears for Fordzilla, will go pole with a 2:02. And we'll put Francis Vogel actually into second place from the Resource Complete team, Try Hard Racing Pro B team in his Aston Martin, number 105. We'll look to close down those 0.5 of a second up to Spears. Jason Absmeyer then knocked down to third, 0.3 behind. And Junior McCall up on the board in his ATK Academy number 99 Lamborghini. Again, more custom liveries. Glad to see the ATK liveries on show. Yilo Designs doing the work out on the ATK cars. Shiny helping out with the White Rabbit stuff. I know that Jaden Gambin does the Black Ribbon Simulations EKZ cars. So, you know, designers, give me your names. We'll shout you out here. Maybe some of the guys doing some of their own design work as well. But here, the Black Widow Racing Griffins. The whole Black Widow squad actually has custom liveries on their cars. Last time I spotted out their custom Raceface logos as well. There we go. We see it on the front end of that Lexus as Hannes van Veek gets knocked out of the top 10 there by Corne Strauss. 2 minutes, 0.9 set for him. Corne Strauss and Zillan Harding getting themselves up into a podium position spot last night for their team, getting third place. So good showing from them. And as far as I understand, these are a little bit of a throwback livery to what they had in their GT Sport days, the EKZ drivers. You can see it's got the cherry blossoms on the front, Japanese theme. You got the Japanese flags on the rear wing, fenders. So very cool of the EKZ team to be running a little bit of a tribute livery, not only to themselves, but out to Japan here in spirit of where the round's taking place. So I'm a big fan. Bruno Kadili, also from WRG, he's going to go up into fourth place, gets himself into the top 5, just ahead of Junior McCall. Behind Vogel, Jason Absmeyer goes pole once again. So McLaren's coming out to party. Good to have both Jason and Bruno in a stream again. Haven't been able to do some commentary on my two drivers being in a race. We've had some very tough races and conditions, but so far looking good for my WRG boys. So if you guys are wondering, I do run a racing team, not so much driving myself anymore, but focusing on the commentary and the broadcast and all the other sides to sim racing, and then trying to field a team as well. So it's a lot of fun, kind of play motorsport manager out here. Richard van Kaller, a name that I haven't been able to see up towards the front of the order in a long time. Good to see the Sandbag. Oh, I mean, they seem to have partnered up here with Retro. So Retro Sandbag looks like he's joined Retro Esports, and he's going to look very, 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 very squiggly and exity out of Dunlop. Does manage to get the car pointing in the right direction. That's not going to be a competitive lap. Let's see who else we got in the chat. We got Mr. Zahir Essa here as well. What is up? Good to see you here. I hope to have you in some of the Raceface stuff going forward. I know you're very busy on your international scene, destroying and taking on names. So hopefully we also get Bashir Jadwat coming up in the 2021 season. Chatted to him, and he's very keen to get in. So like I said, once upon a time, I want to get everybody, the who's who of the crazy sim racing zoo, into the same place at the same time. It's so difficult to try and arrange it, but you know, that would be the ultimate goal, is to get things to that level. Keegan Masters here to party, gonna put his Porsche up towards the front, but immediately gonna have his 159.5 slashed to a smithereen. Half a second goes Harry Spears quicker. 158.9 coming down. Very, very quick times coming out from the Ford Zilla 285. It's going to be an insane race for sure. 9 minutes left on the clock for quali. This is where the track is getting rubbered in. Temperature in the tires, you're starting to get it up there. It's 11 degrees on track, so you're really counting on getting some good lap times out there. Maybe not the first one is going to be the fastest one for you, so trying to just set yourself up for maybe a 2-lap shootout to get a good quali lap, or just relying on the tire warmers from the pits to carry it down. Bruno is not going to improve his time. He's going to be setting himself up for another aggressive hot lap here. So we'll have to keep an eye on where Bruno comes out. There you go, Grobler from the TTH Racing Pro division. He is currently in 12th place, 1.7 seconds off the pace. Lionel Clue, we saw him do some massive defending last night. He's going to be exiting the pits here. It looks like the 969. Currently sitting in 16th place. Cornave Strauss down to 15th. Johannes Greiling in 17th. Zillan Harding in 18th. Again, look at all these guys just waiting to get out of the pits. And, it's so difficult to try and exit. And is going to get out eventually. And Zillan Harding going to be yielding as hard as he can here. You see, just giving some respect out to the guys that are trying to set a flying lap. He does manage to find some space without impairing any traffic. Good patience being shown out there by the EKZ boys. Junior McCall, is he going to go quicker? We saw him having a good race last night for a period of time. Then it went absolutely horribly. And that's, I guess, the nature of sim racing. At the moment in 12th place, his brother Morgan, currently sitting in 7th in his Mercedes. So I think a little bit strange for Morgan, who drives the Lamborghini on Wednesdays in the 85 minutes endurance race in a solo team by himself. And then for this 80-minute race, he's then piloting around the Mercedes. So got to adapt to two different cars in the space of a day. I don't think that's always the easiest thing to do. A little bit of respect from my side for having to adapt. He's going to pull out of that lap. Arno Versace in his Bentley in the top 10. Certainly capable of going quick. He's a 10th up already as he enters into Snake. And the number 94, like I said, got some pace beneath him. Still wants to show what he's got. Quali here at Suzuka, pretty important. It's a circuit that you don't want to be in the mid-pack going through the Degners. I can guarantee you that. It feels like a hailstorm combined with a whirlwind combined with like Sharknado whirlpool. Degners are danger zone for the mid-pack. You want to get yourself out nice and safe towards the front. Kieran Patterson, a name that unfortunately the last time I have a vivid memory of his exit out of the pits at Paul Ricard and just got smashed into. Was no fault of Wilkins coming down there, but he was not focusing on his screen. He was looking at his MFD, and that was the end of Patterson's run there. So currently into 4th place. This is what we want to see from Mr. Patterson. He's very much capable of giving us some good racing up at the front. Always want to try and see if he can, continue to bring the fight to the likes of some of the top names that we get featured up here. Very talented driver lineup. We always get to sort of talk about it. But for me, it's really cool to have some of the names that we have featured out here. A lot of drivers, making a real mark and an impact in, week out racing. And then we take our crew over to the international scene and enjoy the competition that we get across the shorelines. So 5 minutes left of quali. There we see Ari Spears still up at the top. He's got Jason Absmeyer in 2nd place. Still not able to get down into the 158s though. It's only Spears that sits up there. Absmeyer, Masters, Patterson, Kadili, Bego, Krobler, Rowe, McCall, Vogel, Visachi for the top 10. Then you've got Heineke, King, Claessens, McCall, Fincala, Strauss, Kraling, Kruger, Gambin, and Deploy down to 20th spot. And then all the way down to 30th, you've then got Clue, Harding, Gerber, Barkhazen, Van Veek, Lewis, Spammers, Radloff, Peters, Skitter, and Hendricks. So a couple of guys not going to show up on the split timing sheet there because ACC doesn't allow me to scroll in it as much, which is always a bit of a pity. But we will be able to see it on the timing sheet, and I'll be able to give you updates, and we'll be able to track their battles regardless of what we see on the screen. So 23 cars featured there, 32 on the grid, as it looks like Van Lachenberg also getting in to the server. Daniel Rowe, he's up a 10th at the moment, 4 minutes left to go. 10th for him, not quite going to catch up to Heineke, who has slotted himself up into 4th place for the Ghostworks Racing Mercedes entry. Masters up a 10th at this point. A 10th here. Needs a 10th and a bit to catch up to Absmeyer. All the top 5 currently still out on circuit, still trying to chase down Spears. Spears doing exactly the same thing. And if you do notice Spears having a little bit of a higher latency, it's purely out because, or higher up because of the fact that he's got the international barrier to deal with. Hopefully it doesn't cause any issues. We haven't had anything with international guests before, and we raced an international event, so nothing to really worry about. Hopefully, don't want to bring any curses out. Heineke up 2 tenths as he comes into Spoon. Masters up 2 tenths. This is a good lap from both these drivers in 3rd and 4th. Heineke looking to try and jump Masters, but might end up jumping Jason Absmeyer here. Absmeyer not up on his lap time. 2 minutes 30 on the clock coming down. Strauss is up 2 tenths. King up 3 tenths. Junior McCall up a 10th. Kraling up 2 tenths. Kruger up 2 tenths. Gerber up 3 tenths. Lewis up 5 tenths. So just to give you a little bit of a picture, let's see what happens with these front 3. Heineke has now found 3 tenths. Rose found some time as well. So Masters will get knocked down. Heineke will go up to 2nd provisionally. Let's see what happens from Masters and Rowe. Masters will slot into 3rd. Absmeyer does get knocked down to 4th. And now into Spoon he goes. He's not up on his lap time just yet. Rowe and Patterson hot on, or Rowe's coming out of the pits. Patterson though up. Oh, he was up. Just coming out of Degner 2. Going to get a little bit loose. And that's not what Patterson would have wanted right now. He's got 1 minute and 28 to get to the line to start another lap. Spears going to be able to... Oh, I mean, Spears is up 3 tenths here. Is this coming into Spoon already? It is coming into Spoon. This could be a massive lap coming out here from Harry Spears of Forwardzilla. 1:58.9 on the clock for him as his provisional pole sitting lap, but not going to accept that. He's looking to break down into the mid 158s at this pace. Out through 130R. Looking very stable. Then into the braking zone for the final chicane and the last curve. Exit again, looking absolutely planted. Coming down to the line. Where does Harry Spears go with that lap time? I mean, he's up at the top. He goes quicker. 1:58.3 and gets 30 seconds left of that quali clock to go and do another one. Heineke and Masters, they're settled and staying in the pits. Absmeyer out. Bego Krobler still out. Bego Krobler up 4 tenths here in his Lamborghini. Junior McCall is going to jump himself up to 6th. Quade Claessens 8th there. Patterson down into 9th. Vogel 10th. Kadili out of the top 10. Right on his heels. Strauss and Radloff, and then Morgan McCall. Harding then leading out the guys that are 2 seconds off the pace, but then it's all the way down to Barkhuizen for that insane mid-pack battle. Bego Krubler going down to the line. He's not currently up on his time, but Quade Claessens and Junior McCall are. Junior McCall, he's only midway through his lap. Up 1/10, Quade Claessens chasing down Junior McCall at this point. Kieran Patterson up 3/10 as he exits out of the hairpin. He's been struggling to just get the exit that he's wanted. I want to see where Quade Claessens comes out. Radloff, he's up half a second here. He's coming down to the line. Where does Radloff go in this? Radloff over the line up into 7th place. That's going to knock Bego Krubler and Claessens down a position. Morgan McCall up into 8th over the line. Junior in 6th. Bego Krubler 9th. Clue, the top 10. Claessens just outside it then. What can Claessens respond with? He's going down the back stretch. And the ATK Racing number 1, 2, 4. It's up to him, and well, it looks like Patterson's also managed to keep a 10th for... Oh, he's run too wide. Has Patterson off of camera, and that's invalidated his lap. So can Claessens go quicker? Kadili's up 4/10 as well in that 788 McLaren. That could jump him into the top 10. So Quade Claessens, Kadili will go up into 7th place. Crosses over the line. Quade Claessens, where does he go? 9th for the ATK car. So the WRG 720S will join in the top 10 along with Absmeyer. And then we've got the McCall representation for ATK along with Claessens. And it will be Junior McCall in that Lamborghini. There we go. Getting some shots as we line up on the grid. 1 minute 55 for everybody to just get themselves prepared up. Chat, observing the lap time that Spears managed to pull out. Yeah, that was quite an incredible quali lap indeed. And we see 2 Mercedes lining up on the front row of the grid. Ari Spears alongside Chris Heineke. Behind him on the 2nd row, we've got Keegan Masters and Jason Absmeyer. On the 3rd row would then be Daniel Rowe and Junior McCall. 4th row for Bruno Kadili and Christopher Radloff. And on the 5th row, rounding out the top 10, Quade Claessens and Morgan McCall. And outside of that top 10, Bego Krubler in 11th, Lionel Clue in 12th, Patterson in 13th, 14th for Francis Vogel, 15th for Bernard Barkhuizen, 16th for Corne Strauss. Zillan Harding starts 17th, Bernard King in 18th, Gambon in 19th and 20th. Jan Spammers, the man that has certainly impressed me with his racecraft and ability to make up positions in a race. Versace, Grayling, Gaber, Kruger, Van Coller, Peters, Deploy, Lewis, Skitter, Van Veek, Hendricks, and Van Lachenberg make up the rest of our 32-car grid. Looking very much forward to our penultimate round here at Suzuka in Japan. 4 a.m. in the morning for our race start with a 12-degree temperature out on the circuit. Floyd the barber, Mr. Zahir. Some jokes, the ping. I hope it's not going to be an issue. We've talked about it before in this quali session. And I guess when we enter their events overseas, it's kind of what our ping can look like. But yeah, Spears looking like he's got the red ping of death. Hopefully not going to be something that we have to factor in here. And our leaders are going to start peeling themselves away for the start of this formation lap. Harry Spears will be that lead Mercedes, that Fordzilla number 285. And if things go according to Spears' race pace, if he's got the race pace that he brought into quali, should I say, he might just be running away with it from the very start. So now we're in 20-minute race coming up. Nice little mini enduro stint for the guys. Mandatory pit stop to take place. minimum of a litre of fuel to be thrown in for that stop. The rest is completely up to them. Once again, I get a formation lap where I get to talk about ghosting of the cars. I wish drivers would not do it. I mean, I guess the on-screen HUD can be a bit misleading, but it's pretty lenient in that you don't really have to ghost through other cars. I like the fact that you could have had... I don't know if you can actually have it on or off, but I guess it's for the best to make sure that everybody lines up in the right place for the start. Jenny McCall doing the little wobble, trying to get some heat distribution into the tires. A nice little view out from Degner there, getting to just see the formation lap pace. It's a nice, cool, calm, collected sort of sight. I mean, that's what's cool about GT3 cars for me, is they're all supercars, right? I mean, to me, it's you know, as close as you get to that childhood fantasy of just having supercars just racing on a racing track, or beastly. I guess some a little bit more prestigious than others in terms of the ranking, but when they get their GT3 liveries and their race packs and their BOPs, it just gets me so excited. I love this style of racing. Hopefully we get a nice clean start. I mean, it's the foundation phase for a good 80-minute race, is that you don't have the field split up because of a T1 incident. To be honest, I'm not sure if we have switched to the 2020 tires. I think there was some talk of it. I think we are running on the latest, which I don't think is the best tire model from the update side that has come out. So I mean, that could all be something to consider. I'm not 100% sure of it. I'll have to find out. We might be able to even observe it, I suppose. Yuri Absmai in the chat. Haven't had a chat with you in a while, mates. Good to have you here. Like you said, good to see Jason racing again. Hopefully he has a good race. It's been a while since we've had him in the stream, like I said right at the start. It's been a while since I've had two WRG drivers together. Plenty of new teams forming up. You can see some custom liveries coming down. What a sight. ACC, such a beautiful sim. As we get a look at this field. 32 GT3s out through the final chicane, the penultimate corner. And then they make their way around the gradual right-hander. It's definitely gradual at this speed. And over their starting boxes, side by side, waiting for the green flags to drop. And round 8 is about to go live. Of course, our second last round this evening. And we go off to Spa next week to round things off. Jordan Sherritt's already won the championship. He doesn't even have to race this evening. So it's all for pride for these guys as we now go live with the race. Green lights are flashing and a good start coming out from Heineke. He's going to be able to challenge round the outside here. Spears going to have the inside line. Masters going to go side by side. And it's a nice clean start from the front of the pack coming out through the first corner. In the mid pack, the chaos. Like I said, look at that. Absolutely crazy looking back towards that. We'll just see Spears leads on. Masters is going to slot in behind Heineke. And then Absmai and Rowe also just doing the same thing. Bruno Cadili sitting in 7th place. Got Christopher Radloff, Claessens, Morgan, McCaw all out there. Oh, that's a little bit of a challenge coming down. Radloff looks to be having a challenge. As I say that, our cameras go mad and pick up the back markers here. So Kieran Patterson, he's been claimed as a victim. Gives us a little bit of an update as to what's happening out here as well. Our leaders coming out through the hairpin. You see Spears getting a couple of car links out to Heineke. And then behind them, it is just absolute chaos. I'm sad that we jumped across and didn't get to see what happened coming into the Degners. I saw cars side by side. But look at that snake of pro cars coming down into Spoon. the beautiful sights on the mini-map. And we're just going to have to start to see where these battles start to develop as well. Very, very clean opening lap. Probably one of the cleanest opening laps we've had in the season. Very, very nice race start coming out from the drivers. Now, this is the braking zone that normally catches a lot of people out. Are we going to get a clean exit out through the chicane? It looks like we are in the mid-pack. And up at the front, the same thing as transpired. Junior McCall, he's got Bruno all over the back wing. Let's see if we can get some shots of what the train looks like from behind. We see the ATK livery on the bottom side of Junior's number 99 Lamborghini. A little bit of a soundtrack. So we hear the scream of that Lamborghini motor. Well, it's an Audi motor, really, isn't it? They share the same motor. I'm not 100% sure which is which. It's not a Porsche, so it's, not my favorite car. But a Lamborghini, the Batmobile, would have definitely taken one as a kid. I'm currently doing a good job to both be defensive against Kadili and try and hold on to the back end of row. Up at the front three starting to pull themselves a nice little gap. It's that mid-pack that is still chaotic. Someone is trying to look for something wherever they can. And it looks like Morgan there, perhaps just struggling a little bit with the drive out of the hairpin. Does have Claessen's in front of him, so not an easy place to be. We'll jump on board with the 514. Currently finds himself in 10th spot. Looks like Claessen's getting a bit of a shaky exit there. Is going to allow them to go side by side down the back stretch. Teammates, do they yield the positions over? You will get ahead, pull in front. And one small mistake was enough for Morgan to get that done. Still seems to have been nice and clean up at the front. Some consistency coming out from these guys here. Let's look at some of these lap times coming down. Spears currently dropping 1:59.589 as his last lap time. 2.2 for Chris Heineke. That's 2 minutes dead, 0.201. 2.5 for Masters. 2.07 for Absmeyer. Then it's 201s for Rowe, McCall, Kadili. So that mid-pack definitely feeling some of that aero effect, being caught up in some of the slower downforce corners, perhaps. The retro slipstream car of Johannes Kreiling, the M6. He's currently down in 17th place. He's got Versace, his teammate, one of his retro teammates, in front of him. And then he's got the pressure of Kaba starting to come through from behind. Bernard King, that very bright 222 Lamborghini for Rad Races. He's trying to get past Corne Strauss. Strauss then stuck out a little bit behind Lionel Klue, and that's the man that we saw doing massive defensive work last night in the mixed mini enduro, and we saw him doing the same sort of things last week as well. It'll be interesting to see where the defense comes out. Up in 6th and 7th, the ATK versus WRG battle that I always love to call out. Good for me. I love the ATK drivers. Of course, I love the WRG drivers. But always good when teams and cars get to have a little scrap on track. And then they've got Daniel Rowe from G4 Sim just in front of them. So a lot of teams just in the mix here in the top 10. Look at Spears, 1.1 seconds, or 1.7 seconds, should I say, up on Chris Heineke already. We've still got an hour and 13 minutes on the clock. So looks like Spears with something to prove for Fordzilla. Keegan Masters definitely closing down onto the likes of Heineke. Oh. Keegan Masters almost loses control of the back end of his Porsche. The Degner curbs are very unforgiving. And there we see an example of what's happened. The number 18 will drop a couple of car lengths. There we see the gap that Spears has. Jason Absmeyer. He's going to be able to close down on Masters with the exit like that. Daniel Rowe. He still doesn't quite have McCall putting pressure on. 0.2 of a second behind as of the last timing split. But certainly looking to make a move if he gets the opportunity with Junior McCall. And it's normally down this back stretch. You get a good exit out of Spoon. You sit in the slip of the car in front. You set it up. And you maybe risk the bravery of, getting it done before 130R. Oh, look at how closely Junior is following there. As is Bruno, actually, as we go to that heli cam. And it's a little ATK sandwich with a WRG meat. As Morgan also putting some pressure on here. And it would be good to see the McCalls getting a good result together. They're very dominant. Almost individually having star performances. But getting them both to feature and get something up here, that will be big for them. And we'll go a long way in at the Drivers' Championships as well. Morgan is putting a lot of pressure here onto Bruno. Bruno doesn't quite have anywhere to go because he's all over the back end of Junior in front. And then Radloff. Let's see where Radloff is in this. He's a couple of car lengths behind, so not quite into this. But look at this nice little close battle between three very, very talented drivers. I mean, we say that a lot, mostly because our pro split as well just is a star-studded lineup of drivers and names. We are missing a couple. Don't think that I don't know who we aren't missing or who we shouldn't have yet. I've messed it up entirely. Don't think that I don't know that there are drivers that aren't here that also represent from our good old ZA Nation. One, of course, Jordan Sherritt, who's already won this championship. But I think there was a chance that he was going to do some commentary with me tonight as well. He then had to do quali for the sim grid, and that cancelled the chances. But it would have been nice to be able to pick the brain of Jordan over the course of 80 minutes. I'm not sure if he would have enjoyed it as much as I would. Oh, a touch coming out. Masters and Heineke go and rub. Masters now struggling to rejoin the circuit. Is going to get back on, but has dropped down to 9th place. A little final chicane claims its first victim. And we're not going to try and get too many replays if we can avoid them. With the custom liveries, it does cause some stutter issues when we do try and get a live replay. So if it's something that's massive, we'll risk it. But if it's not massive, I mean, I set myself up because for all the Masters fans in chat, that was massive for him. Set him back into 9th place. And Klaassen's going to be on the back end of him very shortly too. Does promote Jason then to 3rd place. And now Jason going to be on the back end of Heineke. Good to see where these two battle it out as well. Chris driving with a Ghostworks Racing team name here. No custom livery as far as I understand. Chris, if you do watch it back and you do have a custom livery, get it set up for Spa next week. And then, of course, for the big 6-hour Enduro on the 6th of December. If you guys haven't registered up, 10 grand prize money brought to you by Medal State and ASUS Republic of Gamers. We will stream it. It will be live. Plenty of drivers have registered up already. Plenty of teams, 39 teams as far as I understand. It's going to be an offering for a pro and an AM split. That's entrant dependent, but I think we are going to be able to run it. I think we are going to get a lot more entries. Entries and sign-ups close on Monday. Don't leave it too late. Get registered up. Win some money. Spa 6 hour. Should be good. Put it in the calendar. Bruno and Morgan now. Oh, look at this. Bruno trying to break some slip. They are going to go alongside one another, coming down into curve 1. And not going to be able to get through there. Morgan forced to the outside. Bruno staying defensive. And Morgan going to be having another look where he can. Hasn't lost out too much in making that attempt. Almost immediately going to be able to apply the pressure again and again and again. And that's going to slow Kedili's progress on catching up to Junior in front. But right now, splitter cam coming down. Let's go and jump down to the rear splitter cam from the McLizzy. Lovely little sunrise starting to come down. The clocks have hit 4:38 in the morning, and the run from that Mercedes looking oh so beastly. You see them coming out of the hairpin. Kedili trying to make that McLaren as wide as he can. Look at them. They're going to go side by side again. They are through 200R. Inside for Spoon. Is it going to be there for Kedili? He's going to get to the space. Both of them giving space coming through. Is there room to come through? Good move coming out from Morgan. Round the outside he goes on the second part of Spoon. Gets the move done. Is going to then put Bruno at risk here. He had to look for a bit of an alternate line. And the exit then sets him up to be a little bit slower. Radloff and Masters right on this. And Masters with the pace to be a lot further up. He's going to go late on the brakes. He's going to go alongside Masters. No! That came, I mean, petition to rename the final chicane the Masters chicane. Because Keegan Masters has spent more time mowing that than anything. And once again, he's going to lose more positions here. Now he's lost 5 this time round. Maybe even 6. He's down to 15th place. Not what you want to see. Unfortunately, you sometimes do. Come back to Heineke. He's taken a lot of curb in through the S's. Has that compromised his line enough for Absmeyer to have a look? Has the patience paid off just yet? Absmeyer would certainly like to come back here with a bang. Currently in 3rd place, looking to get 2nd. Oh, onto the brakes a little bit later. Doesn't quite carry the same speed coming through. What a nice little fight out between Heineke and Absmeyer. It is costing them big time to Harry Spears. Spears 7.8. Oh, that's Daniel Rowe in the background. Daniel Rowe out of the hairpin. He's lost out there. Junior, McCall, Bruno, and Morgan will all come through. And then it will be Claassens to come and be alongside. He'll have more speed, will Claassens. So that will send Rowe another position back. Where does Rowe come back out of this all? 9th place, it looks like. And he's got Bego Krobler in that number 15 Lamborghini behind him. He might lose another position if he's struggling with those tires. After doing the donuts, may have picked up a little bit too much warmth, and certainly takes a little bit out of them in terms of their tire life by doing so. Big shout out to our live viewers. You guys are the rock stars that we love here at Raceface. Resource Complete and Black Ribbon Simulations are partners and sponsors. Getting behind sim racing as well. Massive shout out to them. But yeah, thanks to you guys in the chat. If you haven't slapped that like button, really goes a long way. Helps us with our algorithm. Trying to grow the channel, get some more views where we can. If you guys are interested in stewarding, getting involved in commentary, hit us up over on the Raceface Discord. We're more than happy to facilitate those kinds of requests. I love getting a little sunrise or a sunset. With an hour to go, when the sun comes out, we'll hopefully see an increase in those ambient temperatures, and that should translate into the track temperature as well. So the grip should open up a little bit later. That means that Spears, the man who already is the only one in the 2-minute dead range. I mean, I say 2-minute dead. He's done a 1:59.5 as his fastest lap. So if things get hotter for him, he gets up to temperature. He's just going to keep going. It's almost a second a lap that he's pulling onto Eineke. And that's because Absmeyer is also not making things easy there. It's also the times that he's just pushing down. Massive stuff coming out, but disgusting indeed. Junior and Morgan together, the brothers, will be able to use this as a bit of an advantage. I think, a lot of drivers not always going to be in the same room at the same time. And both the McCalls in a very advantageous spot to work together. It'll be interesting to see what the pit stop strategy and the call is going to be here tonight. I'm sure a lot of guys have practiced what they wanted to do beforehand. But no real big undercuts looking like they've come down. Deploy has gone into the pits. But I think that he was potentially caught up early on in some of the action that we didn't quite see on the very first race start sequence. We were following along with the front of the order. There was certainly a couple of taps. I saw that Patterson was lapping very slow. So certainly a couple of people getting caught out indeed. Claassens in row, they are starting to show that their sector times are getting closer. 2/10 means that we can start to get some splitter cam views. Love this perspective to see. Get to see the little bumps in the road, the suspension at work of the cars. And it is a three-way battle developing for 8th, 9th, and 10th. Claassens, Rowe, and Bego Krabler all getting in here. Getting a little feel for where the braking zone, that row extends, and you can see into Spoon. Just going to keep Claassens in sight. Some slipstream effect maybe for the Audi row. Just going to put a nose out, let him know in the side mirrors that he's there. And it is going to cost Rowe a very wide exit back onto track. Bego Krabler hot on his heels. Those drive-through penalty warnings, they haven't shown up just yet, but when you see DTs, you know that guys have been exceeding their limits. And that's not a good space for them to find themselves in. They've got to keep those track warning limits. Got to kind of space them out. If you are going to get track limit warnings, that is, if you're a flawless driver that doesn't, then you're probably not pushing to the edges of the limits. But, I think you just got to space it out. It's normal to get a little warning, but when you get a drive-through, it's done. From there on out, you're getting continuous drive-throughs. And at that stage, it's costing you so much time that you will be at the back of the order. Side by side, it will be Gaber and Masters. And this is not a place you can normally go side by. Oh, Masters going to eloquently tuck himself in behind. And that was an absolutely jaw-dropping moment. That could have gone wrong. I thought they were going to go side by side into Degner 1, but they didn't. And that will be, I believe that's Kruger and Klue just behind. Corne Strauss Looks like he may have disconnected from our race here. Jaden Gambin. He's currently sitting in the pits. Just serving out, I think is his pit stop. I don't think he's retired out from this race. Skitter at the back of the pack as well. So maybe things not working out so well for the EKZ boys this time round. But for ATK, Great Classens, he's having a good race. Both Junior and Morgan there having great races in 3rd and 4th. For WRG, Absmeyer and Kadili, they're looking good. For Sarko, Christopher Radloff, he's looking very comfortable in 7th. The team Try Hard Racing drivers powered up by Resource Complete. That would be Bego Krabler in the top 10. Vogel, he was having a good quali, but he's now down to 20th place for them as well. So as soon as Bego Krabler gets onto the back end of... Oh, Claessens, he's run wide. So Claessens runs wide. That gives 1 position, 2 positions out. Dunlop it is. Claessens will get knocked down the order there a bit. Passing out some of the back markers here. Also just showing up on our timing sheets. Absmy and McCall, 1.1 seconds between them. Is that Gaber and Masters still? Yeah, it is. Of course it is. Let's go into the rear splitter here and get a front view of Masters number 18 Porsche Bay Beast. Oh, some curb being taken through 200R. And the correction comes back in. Just behind him, that's 718 Aston, or what? Sorry, 178 Aston Martin. That's the likes of Brandon Kruger. And the Audi behind that red Aston Martin, that belongs to Lionel Clue. Any small mistake that comes out, going to be very costly. But Paul Gaber rocking a very different colored livery here. The updated team Try Hard Racing colors. Always used to seeing the orange and the black. But here, the green and blue. Still looks pretty good. Just in front of them, that's Grayling and I believe Barkhuizen. Will be Grayling and Barkhuizen. Barkhuizen in the 103 Rad Races Audi here. And then Grayling in the retro Slipstream number 16 M6. That's what I love about these splits. There's always somebody racing someone. Generally not first and second racing, I let you add. Second always races with third. First has to do first things and just stay in first. And then it's the mid-pack that keeps themselves nice and honest. Look at that timing split from 13th down to 16th. Some flashing lights coming out from Grayling. He doesn't like being held up like a cork in the bottle. He sees Gaber behind him. And that's always a good spot for someone else to find themselves in. If you have to go defensive, they're not quite under too much pressure. Masters at this phase of the track. Well, coming into the first... Oh, late on the brakes goes Grayling. What a move coming out on Barkhuizen. And in the background of that, Masters on Gaber. So 2 nice overtakes coming through. And does Gaber lose out here to Lionel Clue as well? Looks like he's going to attempt to try and go side by side. He is alongside. Gaber, does he give the space? He does. Clue also stays very, very defensive in that attack, as difficult as that is to say. But he does cautiously take a lot of inside curb. Will impact his exit through. And what a crazy move coming out from Grayling. course, there is an overtake of the season prize sponsored up by Black Ribbon Simulations. Not just the Sparko gloves that the winner wins from the season here in Pro, but across all divisions. And that form is open out on the Discord channel if you guys have not submitted your overtakes. Terms and conditions are there. 60-second clip, as many angles as possible. There are some mandatory angles, but anything that makes the overtake look as cool as it was, that's kind of the name of the game. You're trying to win yourself some race gloves, so put a bit of effort in. Find the most ideal place that you had. That was Radloff running very wide out of Degner 2. That will allow Daniel Rowe to slide past. Does Johan Bego Krobler get to do the same thing? I don't think he does. So Jason Absmeyer and Junior McCall now. They're starting to get into sight of one another. Morgan also catching up there. They're 2 seconds ahead of Bruno. So the lone number 90 WRG McLaren here in a bit of sea of ATK. It's got the pressure of Junior McCall's number 99 Lamborghini, and then Bruno, his older brother, in that Mercedes. We'll see them all in shot together. But I guess to Jason, he's hoping that Morgan and Junior, they've got a bone to pick and prove to one another. And hopefully, you know, the sibling rivalry comes out and this takes the battle off his hand with Junior. I don't think that's going to happen. I think with Rob being able to manage the boys there, he's probably making sure that they don't do anything untoward and that they work together to make their way up through the grid. That is the most beneficial place you can be, 100%. In this situation where it's your teammates and you're on track, you're driving at the same race pace, got so many options in front of you. Looks like Junior gonna just drop off out through the hairpin a little bit. 50 minutes left on the race clock for the drivers. Looking at our timing sheets, looks like Radloff, Chaba, and Vogel, all drivers that are potentially having a battle. Claessens and King, they're getting closer together. But Radloff and Bego Krabler, 0.3 of a second between them. Some beautiful shots as the sun rises here at Suzuka for sure. Unsurprisingly, Junior going to come into the pits. They've got the pit strategy to work with, does ATK, so Morgan will stay out for a lap longer. He's going to see what he can do without his brother in front of him. It's not always about just the following of a car. The dirty aero that you pick up can also be very difficult to make time up, and that's what you want to do when you're trying to do a little bit of an overcut, maybe see if the later pit stop works out. Just to check back with reality up at the front, 285 of Harry Spears. He is in that Fordzilla number 285, like I said, and he is 16.5 seconds ahead of Chris Heineke in second. The number 196 Ghostworks Racing. A lot of time to try to catch up to Spears, but he has put on decent amount of time to Absmeyer. McCall and Kadili, they're closing down on this as well. As that pit window remains open for the next 38 minutes, I expect some changes to come through there, and that effect we'd have to wait and see to see what goes down. Radloff, after struggling with a bit of an exit, he finds himself just settled into 7th. He's got Daniel Rowe in front of him. And it's really Absmeyer and Morgan that are our 2 drivers that are really the closest for the biggest point differences in this race. Up towards the front of things. Half a second again. The update, or should we call it 8/10 between Claessens and King. Timing sheets don't always update as quick. It's always a little bit of a struggle, but we don't mind. We do what we need to do. And as this race gets broadcast with whatever situation comes, it comes. Just really need to give Spears a little bit more time up towards the front. I think it's always been some of the drivers' biggest criticisms is that I don't show the front of the pack too much. At this stage, it's very difficult for us to just show Spears lapping around, destroying people's lap times like it is, but we can give it a little highlight at times. Heineke will be leading that charge. He's got Absmeyer, who again has escaped the clutches of Morgan. As Bruno started to reel them in, not quite where Bruno would have wanted to just yet. Clue and Barkhazen, they're starting to get closer to one another as well. The 103 Rad Racers Audi here in bright apple acidic green. Audi versus Audi battle, in fact. The 103 versus the 969. And then there's Paul Gabbe in 14th place behind them. That gap closing down again. Jason and Morgan. ATK versus WRG. Down towards 130R they're going to go. Decent amount of space between them to not have defensive line needed. We're going to take a 5-minute immersive break. We're going to take a ride on with one of the vehicles out on circuit. So if you guys are in the chat, I generally take the first request. But if there's a couple of popular requests for a car that we want to ride on board with for 5 minutes, just enjoy the soundtrack with, you are welcome to vote it out, and we might change out who we go for. I already feel like I want to go with something that is a little bit rare on the circuit, maybe the Bentley. We have done a ride along with Versace before, but we could go with Peters. The Ferraris of Gambon and Deploy, I think that they've got some good sounds to them. So I'm not really sure who we're going to take a 5-minute onboard lap with. Maybe someone like Kreiling or Masters. Maybe Masters, because he's having a little bit of a chase down. Hasn't been able to pass. I think we go with Masters. I'll see you guys in 5 minutes. Enjoy the onboard sound effects as we watch Masters try to make an overtake. onboard that we all wanted to see. Well, I mean, I wanted to see for sure. Always a good viewpoint to see what another driver's trying to deal with out on the circuit. And for Keegan Masters, he just cannot get past the likes of Johannes Kreiling. Johannes Kreiling doing such a good job at defending there. Really enjoyed the sunrise as well. Just getting to follow through. You can see some of that dirty air kicking up the downforce on the rear end of Keegan Masters' Porsche. Getting it a little bit looser. He's going to struggle, especially in through the S's, when he is following so closely behind. But they are putting immense pressure on one another, both in attack and defense. Really nice to see them pushing it to the limits, and Masters just wants to get by, wants to find a way through, and at the moment just cannot seem to do so. Blue flags will be waved for the Ferrari in front of them. Shouldn't be a back marker that causes an issue between them.
We're halfway through, keep pushing.
Halfway mark into the race, and Keegan looking to find some of the exit. It does look like Kreiling fishtailed a little bit there on the exit of Spoon in that midsection, but gets immediately defensive on the inside apex. And that is going to stop Masters from being able to get by in that scenario. Gets himself nice and close, but it's going to be a wasted opportunity. Not even an opportunity, because the defense of Kreiling was to recover back and just get back onto that inside line. So good defense coming out, and Masters had enough. He's going to go into the pits. A good call in that scenario. Look at the pit leaders. It's going to be Kreiling to resume out in the front, because up towards the front of the order we've had a drop out, as far as I can see, of our race leader. Where's Spears in all of this? Looks like he just lost connection from P1. And he has confirmed it here on the live stream as well. Spears dropping out. Oh, that is frustrating. And what a massive lead Spears was pulling. That's changed up the way that this race could potentially end. But that is not what we wanted to see. The Ford Zilla driver was 20 seconds up on the field, and that disconnect there is going to change things up. So Heineke going to be the lead car in that 196 of the pitted drivers, with Junior just behind him. Will be interesting to see what Kreiling manages to do now that he's lost some of that pressure. And in our little immersion break, losing out on having Spears in the race. Oh, big frustration for sure on his debut appearance here for the Raceface.Pro Season 4 Round 8. Second last round before we go out to Spa next week. And then we've got our 6 hour on the 6th of December. So a lot of practice for Spa going to go down next week. Wednesday for the mixed mini multi-class Enduro Series. And the GT3s again on Thursday. All setting us up for that medal state 6 hour of Spa, powered by Asus Republica Gamers. 10 grand on the line for the teams. I think it's 4 grand going to the number 1 team coming out. Cornet dropping some good bants and jokes in the chat. Caught me off guard, gave me a little giggle for sure. Sometimes you guys in the chats, like I said before, I love the engagement, love to chat to you guys as well as we go through these endurance rounds. Love to ask the questions. If you haven't left us a little cheeky like and a share, it's much appreciated. The algorithm of the YouTube, we try and broadcast all our races. We're trying to get some more commentators involved to bring some of the other splits. I mean, racing right now, we've got, I think it's 4 divisions: Pro Am, Gold. I could bring it up on the Discord and check, but I think it's over 120 drivers in the ACC division now in this 4th season. Absolutely crazy. 39 entries into that medal state endurance. So far, entries close on Monday. So if you guys haven't got that entry in, please don't leave it to the last minute to do so. We want to see you racing. We want to see as many of you guys out there as possible. If you want to get involved with the team as well, you don't quite fancy the race, we are looking for volunteer stewards, commentators. Come and test your skill sets out. I've got 6 hours in the box, so I'm looking to bring people in. If you are a team driver, principal, racer, and you're not doing a stint, and you feel like coming and doing a commentary stint for a couple of hours, hit me up. Let me know. It doesn't even have to be a couple of hours. It could be 30-minute stints. It would be cool to bring in and cycle some of the drivers through, bring them into the comms box, get some insight as to what they're doing, and do it more as maybe a commentary focused thing together, as we can then focus on interviews at a later stage. Very much possible. Drive, commentate. I'm not saying that that's what I want to do in the future. I'm just saying that if you do want to come and showcase your voice, I'll most certainly take it. So Cadiel and Morgan McCall, they're going to be separated out by 4/10. Whilst we wait for those pit positions to finalize out, we'll see Kralin going into the pits. Van Koller will go into the pits. Does Peters follow him into the pits? He does indeed. So Eugene van Lochenberg stays out. The number 136 Black Widow Racing slots. BMW M6 will remain out on circuit. He's got a lot of fresh open air in front of him and behind him. He will be running with an older set of tires for himself. But at this stage of the race, I'm not even sure if drivers are doing full tire swaps. I think the pit stop time does indicate that there are a lot of guys that are doing. I mean, I don't know if my pit stop time is 100% accurate here, but it looks like guys are taking tires. So if you are driving and you have taken tires, just let me know. It'll be interesting to know if this pit stop timer is working out. Maybe some taking tires, some just going for a splash and dash. I'm not quite sure. My pit stop time seems to be around about 1:11, 1:12 maybe for the splash and dash from going into the pits and stopping and getting out again. Brandon Kruger, he might have actually done tires. He's done a 1:29.5. So 1 minute and 30 seconds in the pit stop. An extra 20. It's only 30 seconds for a tire change, so I'd expect those to be. I'm trying to just work out some things from some of the timing info that I get off the screen, so don't mind me whilst we watch the imagery of some of our drivers making their way around. Eugene stays out. Junior and Jason then will be the battle down for first and second, with Bruno starting himself into third place here. So will Junior be able to make it to the line here and get a victory in the GT3 round 8 penultimate round? We'll have to wait and see. The pressure going to be on from that 720S of Jason Ampsmeyer, the number 90. Bernard King and Quade Claessens. Rad Races versus ATK versus GeForce Sim of Keegan Masters. That's a little three-way train. Masters seems to have found himself in a position of just following everyone the entire race. So he's permanently looking to see. Oh, just look how close he's getting to the back end of Claessens. Oh, nice little run on through Dunlop. Does he go side by side? He will. And now Keegan Masters alongside Claessens. Claessens going to be on the inside for Degner. It's going to force Masters to go a little bit wide. Claessens is going to take the evasive maneuver and see the tank slapper coming in. Does give the space through. So good work from Claessens to see that move coming in. Very brave of Masters. Does make the move work out for himself and will no longer have to sit in the traffic of Claessens in front. I mean, to Keegan Masters, he felt like it was traffic. He didn't want to waste any time getting through that. He's then got King to attack next. A couple of car lengths before he gets into that scenario. But certainly a little bit of exciting racing coming out in the closing phase of the race. Pit stop strategies have all been served. Now it's down to pure focus. So Morgan had a slightly slower pit stop, 4 seconds slower than what Bruno was in the pits for. Bruno's pit stop 1.2 seconds quicker than Jason's. And Jason's was 0.6 quicker than Junior's. But Junior's was still 2 seconds quicker than his brother Morgan. So interesting to see that those pit stop times kind of shuffled them up a little bit. Bernard King and Quade Claessens, they're battling it out for the quickest pit stop at 1:08. 1 minute and 8 seconds for Claessens. 3 seconds quicker than the likes of Absmeyer, for example. And then Masters, I mean, Masters was also almost 3 seconds slower in the pits than Claessens. So he's done good to get past him there as well. Negate that advantage that came out from the pit stops. Bruno and Morgan are getting very close to one another as well. You see Morgan half a second behind the number 788. 28 minutes is a long time to defend, and the Mercedes, we've seen what it can do with its top end. Likes to scream and shout, get it all out. And I suppose you're also just trying to force one of the errors from one of the other drivers as well. Trying to make sure that they exceed the track limits, try and force them into a drive-through scenario, because if you do, that's going to knock them so far down the order. So Eugene van Lachenberg will go into the pits. That will hand the lead back over to Junior. Pit stops all served out. Jason into second, Bruno into third, and then Morgan here in fourth. Chris Heineke, he's been a little bit robbed out by everything as it's transpired. Into fifth place. I believe he started... Where did Chris actually start? I think he started P16. So, to be honest, I mean, at a stage he was in second place, third place. This doesn't seem... No, I don't think this is 100% right. Again, I'm not sure if the information that I get fed from my timing information is always 100% accurate. So it makes it hard. And then I forget where people qualified. And the information is there. You become a little bit lazy, I suppose, and then you rely on it. And then if it's not right, you feel like you've let everybody down. You let the squad down. So we won't make those kind of predictions. Hopefully the pit timing stop amount is accurate, because that would be very cool to know that that information is coming through accurately. Knowing how long people have stopped in the pits is so important. Especially in the longer endurance races, especially where the mandatory stop requirements are very little. and you've got quite a lot of freedom. "26 minutes to go." Bruno and Morgan still just a couple of car lengths between one another. Junior and Jason, that gap kind of also pulsates a bit. Does look like Junior finding a 10th or so a lap on Jason, just comparing their last lap times. Overall, Jason's still capable of going 2/10 quicker than what Junior's done as his best lap. Both of those are just little consideration points. Bruno and Morgan. Last lap that Bruno did was a 10th quicker than Morgan's. And overall lap times, quickest time being done between those two would go to Morgan. And that's a 10th quicker than what Bruno's done. So the inverse coming through. But it does go ATK, WRG, ATK, WRG, Ghostworks, GeForce, Sim, Team Tryhard Racing, powered by Resource Complete. Then you've got Sarko, GeForce Sim, ATK, Rad Races, Krailing from Retro, Clue, I'm not quite sure, Kruger out from BWR as far as I know. Kinetic Simworks Racing is his team name here. Harding for EKZ. Vogel, he's from Team Tryhard. Spammers from the Black Widow. Oh, he's the Scorpions for Black Widow. I'm trying to learn all the team names. I mean, it's only the final season, or final race of the season coming down next week, and I might get everybody's team name 100% right. But you know, lots of teams to try and get familiarized with. But as we have grown to learn the drivers, it's become a tiny bit easier week in, week out. Bruno still doing a good job to just stay ahead of Morgan, coming up into the Degners now. The 788 finds a 10th again on that last lap. It's all about just managing those tires as well, making sure you've got something left on the final 10 minutes. We've seen what these races can become when you don't have tires left to fight with. Oh, look at that exit coming out from Morgan. Absolutely nailed the entry into Spoon. Gets caught up behind Bruno in the mid section towards the exit. And that will allow Bruno to stay ahead for the back stretch. But that was a very, very interesting gain of time coming out from Morgan. And he'll know that if he can continue to push that, he should be able to put Bruno under enough pressure that this move could go down. Jason, he's closing down on Junior. 3/10 behind him now, sitting in that slip. Look at him trying to break it as Junior, as he goes to the very left-hand side of the track before throwing it in for the double right-hander of curve 1-2. Bruno and Jason putting the ATK drivers through different tests at this point, and the ATK drivers putting the WOG drivers through different tests as well. Bruno on the defense, Jason on the attack, Junior on the defense, and Morgan on the attack. Down the order as well, you'll see Radloff and Masters. They're 2/10 between one another. We'll go and have a jump to them as well. Just been trying to follow along with the front of the order. After losing Spears, it has reignited their battles for the podium positions. Radloff from Sarko and Masters from GeForce Sim. They're putting a good show on for the social distanced spectators at the circuit. Into Degner 1. Again, Masters using a lot of curb in his Porsche. A very brave man he is for the way that he pushes it. We've seen him loop it a couple of times in the final chicane. Had he not done that, I think he would have been way more towards the front of the order. Both times, I mean, the first time he lost, it was 9 positions. The second time, 6 positions. So in doing all of that, he's had to make up a lot of time. And it's time that he's wasted on catching up to potentially a race leader and you know, taking a victory. But whatever driver he's found himself behind, he's managed to eventually seemingly got himself past, even though he was down sort of 16th place. There we go. Look at the slip coming in. That Porsche getting ominously closer and closer to the Sarko Audi, but it's not going to be where he can make the move just yet. Going to have to give himself a little bit of space so that the 38 didn't compromise his exit out through 130R. Here we go. 20 minutes left on the clock. The Raceface Season 4 Round 8 penultimate round at Suzuka enters into its closing phases. And next week we go off to Spa. Massive shout outs to Resource Complete and Black Ribbon Simulations. If you haven't checked out their websites, go and support them where you can. Get involved. Black Ribbon Simulations for sim racing gear. Resource Complete, completely the opposite side to the sim racing spectrum, but very important service during the tough times that are 2020. So if you have found yourself there, you might want to go and have a read through on the Resource Complete offerings. Radloff, his hands are full. He's a little bit tied up here with what Masters is pushing him through. And again, through the Degners, Masters is going to keep that pressure on. Does not want to let Radloff breathe for a second. Is he going to try a wider line through? Doesn't always work out through the chicane. The 316 takes the much better line on the exit, as I would traditionally think. But it looks like the drive from that Porsche, he is using it to come down. Is he going to try under braking here for something? He can't. It's going to force Radloff to go a little bit wider. And Master's going to also just once again settle back, wait another lap or two. It's just a testament to a good drive coming out from Radloff there up at the front. McCall still holds off Absmeyer. 0.4 seconds between them. 0.3 seconds between Bruno Cadilli and Morgan McCall. Then we've got Barkhuizen and Gaber showing up that they are also getting a little bit closer together. 0.3 between them as they make their way down the back stretch. Those are all the closest cars for battles throughout the field. Let me put up the timetables so you can see where things stand at the moment. Your top 10 would be McCall, Absmeyer, Cadilli, McCall, Heineke, Rowe, Begelkrobler, Radloff, Masters, and Claessens. The top 20 then compromising of Grayling, King, Kruger, Barkhuizen, Gaber, Harding, Vogel, Peters, and Van Coller. Jumping into the cockpit of that 720. Number 90, White Rabbit Gaming, Jason Absmeyer, trying to put the pressure onto Junior where he can. And a massive age difference between these two drivers. Big difference in experience as well. Junior, the proverbial youngster, compared to very veteran like Absmeyer. You know, people have seen where he's competed in from all the different titles that have been offered out in sim racing. He's always had a little look-see to see what he can do. So what a drive it is for Junior at the moment to be ahead of Jason at this stage. Oh, and just look how close this is as well. Morgan putting so much pressure onto Bruno. Onto the front splitter cam we go. Is he going to go around the outside again? He's going to try to go around the outside. And Bruno needs to be careful. The inside line might open up there. Oh, the understeer that Bruno had to fight with there. That was a very big opportunistic moment. And Bruno managing to get it round and stay ahead. That pressure is definitely being turned up a notch. A tenth the last updated gap between them. We just have to permanently jump and see where these two up at the front stay, because wherever we switch to, it is a car length between them, and that is obviously first, second, third and fourth that we are jumping to there in their own positions on track. Each little pack, first and second, third and fourth. Oh, looks like Bruno, he's had a great exit out of the hairpin. Complete opposite to what Morgan had. And that is going to give the 788 big advantage in the closing 15 minutes here. Will Jason be able to get past Junior in these last 15 minutes? I mean, lap time wise, they are so close together. 2 minutes, 201.230 was Junior's last time. 201.227 is Jason's. 3,000ths of a second between the two of them, lap time wise. And now the dash down to the line. Junior going to go over the line. Does a 201.2. Jason does a 201.134. So a tenth, should we call it 700ths being shaved off. Look at the pressure. Look at the pressure building up. The first 1-2 battle in a little while in the closing 13 minutes. That's what I always get excited about at the end of the day. My favorite saying as well at the end of the day. Oh, Morgan. He's been teaching Junior some tricks. The defense coming out from the youngster here is just really good to see. And what a great drive as well from Jason. He's had a little bit of a break out from Raceface and a couple of other sim racing leagues that he's entered into. But the break has worked out for him. And he's come back with some great form here at Suzuka. It was Richard from Black Ribbon called it on Twitter Suzuka. He's been playing too much Among Us. Very good game if you guys are looking for something outside of sim racing that does not teach you to lie to your friends. And that was a complete lie. You can see I've been playing Among Us. Maybe we should get Among Us to sponsor us, since I just give him free advertising space. Black Ribbon Sims and Resource Complete, the only sponsors you guys should care about in the live stream, because they're the guys that get involved. Oh, Jason. Is he going to be able to have a look down? He's not. Oh, big use of the curb coming out from Jason as well. He wants to make this happen. 12 minutes left on the clock. The battle up front here is there. Bruno and Morgan, unfortunately, separate. Look at Junior. He's choosing to break the slip where he can. Sets himself up for the corner as well. Needs to be careful that he doesn't get caught braking or moving under braking. But right now, doing absolutely nothing wrong. Stellar job. The number 99 leading on the number 90. 2/10. The last updated split between them. 11 minutes to go. The track temperature not really rising too much with the sun coming up. 14 degrees on the circuit. 0 kilometers an hour of wind, so it's a dead still day. Residents will be happy that the sun. Oh, Jason very wide coming out. And the Degna 2 is going to claim that gap. And that is going to take the pressure off of Junior now. That mistake. Oh, just let's go out through Degna 2. Similar to maybe what happened with Morgan out through the hairpin. And he's now doing a good job to try and catch up to Bruno. Commentator's curse coming out a little bit to Jason. I was getting a little bit too stoked for him getting close to Junior there. I'm just going to have to make sure that the tyres for the last 10 minutes last them to the end of the session. Quade Claessens and Johannes Grayling. 2 tenths between them out through the hairpin. Albeit a better exit coming out from the ATK number 1, 2, 4. Stays in the top 10 as we get close to the final 10-minute mark of our penultimate round here at Suzuka. Next week off to Spa. That decides up where a bunch of people finish up in the championship. Of course, the season has already been won out by Jordan Sherritt. Pit window closed. All our drivers already serving that, so that shouldn't be a bit of a problem. But yeah, Jordan Sherritt already taking the victory for the season. He's going to pick up a pair of Sparko race gloves courtesy of Black Ribbon Simulations. They've also just finished launching their store and their website. So if you guys haven't checked out the offerings from BRS, go check them out on the social media at www.blackribbonsims on the worldwide. Oh, Claessen's big slide! The drift boy comes down. I mean, I said I'm not going to get replays, but that was something that I would have played a replay for and risked the lag, just so that everybody's fully aware. I love drifting. Don't know how Quade survived that, but the last 10 minutes not just proving difficult for the likes of Jason. It's also looking like Quade struggling a little bit. Bruno, he's also dropped off the pace. He's 5 tenths slower than what Morgan was on the last lap. That's allowed Morgan to get that gap closed down again. But maybe we see that battle coming back through. Jason 2.7 seconds down from Junior now. Lap times are just absolutely bleeding away for Jason. His last lap time at 2:03.5. He just needs to make sure he gets this car to the line at this phase. Oh, that's a big crash from Junior. Junior, he's gone off. We have to jump back for that. I said we're not going back for things. That is a big crash. That's an important crash. Let me go back. We'll risk the freeze. Okay, we're risking the freeze. So I'm just going to talk with my voice while we wait for ACC to catch up with our camera controls. Junior, he's put it into the wall. The number 99, please don't freeze entirely and not get back here. Okay, here we go. Out through the back stretch. Whew, I'm just glad that the whole stream didn't freeze entirely. Replay mode, 130R, chucks it in. Runs a bit wide. Oh, just got slapped and absolutely lambasted by the barrier. He's going to file for some harassment from what that curb did to him. Oh, that thing is not even turning. He's gone into the pits. That is a retirement coming out from Junior. So a 1-2 potentially on the cards for White Rabbit Gaming right now in their matching 720S's liveries designed out by Shani ZA, but it's not going to be made easy because Morgan McCall, he is right here driving in his ATK Mercedes. Yellow Designs, slapping the designs onto that Mercedes that you see there. So if you are looking to follow some designers for some ACC liveries, Yellow Designs, Shani is going to be doing some stuff with Raceface as well. It's a little tease as to what is going to come on the cards, hopefully for the start of next year. But this is an interesting little battle coming down. Morgan has been making up tenths per lap. Had he not dropped off out through the hairpin early on, I think his move opportunity would have already been sort of chucked into the opportunistic space. And he's still going to be trying to see if he can have a look right towards the end. Looks like Jason is going to be decently far enough ahead of Bruno so that Jason and Bruno aren't going to fight out. But Bruno going to be just trying to make sure that the McLaren's tires don't fall off towards the end. It's the biggest complaint that the team has had with the cars, that the tires don't last grip-wise for the entire stint of a race. So I do know coming into this, they are going to be battling with tires. Mr. Heineke, a humble 4th place at the moment. Daniel Rowe in 5th. Johan Bego Grable in 6th. Closing 5 minutes coming down. Keegan Masters made his way back through the field up into 7th place. Johannes Grayling from Retro Slipstream into 8th. 9th for Quade Claessens and ATK. We saw him with that big drift. That's would have taken away some of the opportunity for him to get some more points. And then Christopher Radloff from Sarko rounding out the top 10. And Radloff has had such a good drive from the Sarko team, and since he's kind of entered into the space of driving, so really keen to see where Christopher Radloff comes through. I think we have to stick with Bruno and with Morgan at this stage. 3/10 between them still. That looks like a 10th at this stage as they exit out through Spoon. Down the order, Barkhazen and Noah Hendricks. They're also fighting it out. What should be Zillan Harding and Barkhazen. That's half a second between them. It is indeed the number 20 and the 103 if you are tracking the leaderboard on the side. Oh, look how close. Look how close Morgan is getting himself here. Bruno and Morgan having such a good track battle out at the moment. And it's been a while since we've been privileged to see this. You'll see Bruno will force Morgan again to go as wide as possible into curve 1 and 2. And Morgan getting the inside drive, tries to come back in. This is the fight down to the line that we want to see. Morgan, McCall all over the back end. Bruno Kadili, ATK Sim Racing versus White Rabbit Gaming out for that second position. Position, points, pride, everything on the line when it comes into the top 3. And they will all be rounding out on the podium. All things touch wood considered. They might shift up, or they might take one another out and lose those positions to Heineke or Rowe behind them. All to play for. They are going to go alongside again before the hairpin. The cutback from Morgan is there. He's going to get some drive. They're going to stay alongside. The 720 is going to get some kind of oomph. It's not the greatest on acceleration, and it's also not the greatest on the top end, but somehow the drive comes out from Bruno. He's going to go defensive the entire duration now, and Morgan will have seen that opportunity disappear in front of him. He had the drive out of the hairpin. He did a phenomenal job getting into that braking zone, but somehow that wider exit comes out from Bruno and holds off Morgan for a little bit longer. This is incredible nail-biting racing between the two of them. And out through 130. Oh, Morgan, he's dropped off a little bit, needs to make it back up in the braking zone, does close back up into the chicane. And back onto the loud pedal they go. 2 minutes left on the clock. Jason still leads away. And this could potentially then be the final lap out. It might be this one. It might go a little bit longer. Might be an extra lap on this. Both of those scenarios could change up how this race ends. So it depends on the pace that Jason pulls out as to whether Bruno's going to have to defend for another lap or not. Quade Claessens and Radloff, they're all over each other as well. Quaid going to go for that inside line that we've seen Bruno taking. Oh, Radloff, look at the cutback coming through. Quaid again, he's struggling with the back end. He's lost the back, he's lost it. He's not going to have the drive out of here, but he will have the inside line. Quaid, what a drive, what a defense still coming out. The man is not giving up from ATK. He wants the position. He's making Radloff fight for it from Sarko. And this closing minute is so exciting. This is what I wanted. They needed the good clean start at the beginning to be able to bring us to the phase where the closing parts of the race were going to be exciting. Of course, we've lost Harry Spears from Fordzilla. He was destroying the front of the field. Would have loved to see him fight against Sherritt. It was a Sherritt-like lead, really, coming out. But it's all changed up with the disconnects that have come down. Absmeyer and Kadili. Morgan McCall, he's been in the party as well. Looks like Morgan is going to be 1.8 seconds down behind Bruno. Yeah, so the attack is going to be off for him. Jason Absmeyer will come down towards the line in the next couple of seconds. Out through the Casio chicane. 10 seconds left on the clock. Will they do another lap? Will Jason cross the line? 3 seconds. He will. This will be the race end as we go down. A flash of the lights. A debut return for Jason Absmeyer. Takes home the victory in the number 90. And a 1-2 will come down for Bruno as well. White Rabbit Gaming cleaning up there. And I can say that as a little bit of tongue-in-cheek. Beautiful to see them doing that. What a drive coming out from the ATK boys as well. Morgan and Junior had a great race. Junior didn't manage to get it to the line. Morgan takes home third. Chris Heineke from Ghostworks will take home fourth place. Fifth goes to Daniel Rowe. Keegan Masters takes that sixth position spot. Seventh for Bego Hrobler. Grayling from Retro will take home 8th place. Quaid Claessens, the drifty boy, will defend off Radloff to the line. 9th and 10th, less than half of a hundredth of a second between Radloff and Claessens to the line. And Radloff rounds out the top 10. Then it's Kruger, King, Barkhazen, Harding, Vogel, Peters, Van Koller, Van Lochenberg, Gaber, and Spammers. That might change up before we go to the very end. We'll see. But, oh, what a race. What a finish. And what a 1-2 coming out for White Rabbit Gaming. Very proud. Very exciting racing. Couldn't have asked for it to be any better. Unfortunately, for those race disconnects for the likes of Spears, the likes of Strauss. A couple of drivers not having the best of luck out in the field. But for the top of the order, oh, what a fight it was for the top 4. So, guys, thank you for joining me here at Suzuka. Could not have asked for a better round. It really was a goodie. And it will round out our penultimate round. We'll see you guys next week for Spa on both Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday will be the final round for the GT3s. Thanks again to Black Ribbon Simulations and Resource Complete for sponsoring us here. Raceface Speed Labs, the place to go for some driver coaching if you have the inkling to go and see what's happening on the driver coaching side. I think we've touched on everything. And a massive thank you to you guys, the viewers, for supporting us. We'll see you guys next week. Massive win coming out for Jason. Very proud team owner. And from me, George G. Max Smith, I look forward to seeing you guys next week or on the RCI front over the weekend for a couple of Enduros taking place.
I don't wanna fight anymore. Just turn around.